morning, Facebook friends. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm here with Steve Hawks. Thank you for your time, buddy.
No problem. Thank you. Good morning.
Hey, I appreciate you coming here or allow me to do this video, so I greatly appreciate it. I want to talk a little bit about Steve when you got into business. What year did you get into business?
Out here in Vegas, 98, March of 98.
98? Did you do any real estate before that?
In California, I worked at the World Trade Center in Long Beach, commercial real estate, Marcus and Millichap. In college, a runner and stuff like that, intern stuff.
So you
and
did
then doing some stuff after that, yeah.
So you did some commercial real estate in the past?
Yeah, in California.
A little bit.
A
little bit. You know, Steve and I started real estate almost the same time.
That's right, that's right. Time flies.
And for years and years, Steve would hear about me, and I would hear about Steve, but we never really talked all these years. But we know each other very well, right?
Right.
Through associates and friends, right?
Right.
And finally, I met Steve in person for the first time last year at Kabuki Restaurant.
That's right. We went early because we got all our kids with us.
Yeah. So the funny thing is that we're bombarded with work, you know. But hey, finally, you know, I'm here getting to know you a little better. Let's start about talking about Las Vegas market, the real estate market. What's going on in the real estate market? Can you tell our audience?
Yeah. So the 2017, we're going to see an explosion in real estate out here. There's a lot of outside influences that are coming to Vegas. For example, China. Many people don't know this, but American real estate is sort of exempt from money laundering laws. So foreigners can come in and buy real estate property without having to source the funds. So that's a huge advantage for United States real estate, and we're seeing what's going on in Vancouver and Seattle. We're also seeing a lot here in Vegas. The Chinese buyer from China is really picking up. In fact, 75% of all the new homes in Irvine last year were purchased from China money.
So there's more of Chinese monies coming into Las Vegas.
Yeah, the money laundering laws are exempt, so the source is really picking that up. And then the other thing, Vancouver just put in a 15% tax on foreign money. So a lot of the Chinese from China that were buying Vancouver are now coming to Vegas. And you see what they've done to Seattle. Seattle's blown up. You've seen in the news lately, Seattle's going through the roof right now, record values. What they fail to mention is the number one reason is because Vancouver put in that 15% tax.
So they're taking their money out of Vancouver and invest it in Seattle.
Seattle and other parts, but Seattle right now is because they're like, wait a minute, let's just go right across the border to the U.S. and we're not going to have that 15% tax.
Eventually, do you see they come from Seattle coming to Las Vegas?
They already have, because we're already starting to see. I just had an offer in Summerlin for $569. They didn't even see the house. So that's what we're already seeing. The other thing that is going to be huge for Vegas is the recreational marijuana and the marijuana, medical marijuana, all that. The reason why that's so big, the reason why Denver real estate has gone up so much, is because it goes back to those money laundering laws, right?
Right.
The marijuana is still federally, it's still illegal, whatever, with the bank, so you can't, if you sell marijuana, even though it's legal in the state, it's hard to take into a federal bank, right? So the best source to put that money is real estate. So that's why we're seeing Denver real estate blow up because of the marijuana. We've already seen California is one of the reasons. So the marijuana boom in Nevada and especially Vegas is also going to help real estate thrive, because that's the number one source for these marijuana people making profit. They're going to make millions,
right? And
they're going to put it into real estate because a lot of the banks won't take it.
So as a real estate agent right now, should we go after marijuana, target marijuana owners? Is that what?
Sure. Anyone that has anything to do with the legalized marijuana, they're going to make a killing. And they're gonna have to put that money somewhere. So, and it's mostly cash business too. So, because remember, they can't take across federal lines. You can't take the money across federal lines. It's because marijuana is legal in Nevada.
The income generated here in Nevada has to stay in Nevada.
You can't take the marijuana across state lines, and then the cash. If you're taking, you can't get on a plane with $10,000 in cash and drive it. But why not just take that cash, put it in real estate? Then once you sell the real estate, then you can wire that money into a bank because it's coming from real estate. That's what a lot of the foreigners are doing right now. They bring the money into the U.S. via the real estate. Then when they sell that house to a friend or other company, then they can just wire that money into a bank and it's cleaned.
I see. You mentioned earlier when we talked about something about pension.
Yeah, so a lot of the states like California, New York, and New Jersey, and Illinois, Chicago, They have a lot of pensions that are underfunded. California, I think, has 400 billion. Chicago alone, I think, has 2 or 3 billion. Illinois is in deep trouble. They can't pay their pensions. They're underfunded. And then you also have New Jersey, New York. Well, for those states to try and pay those pensions, they're raising taxes like crazy. Every one of those states. And so the taxpayers and the businesses are fleeing. In fact, California just did Prop 55. Look up Prop 55. It's a disaster for taxpayers and for businesses.
For small businesses, and they also increased the minimum wage, right?
Correct. But the big thing is Prop 55, because they're trying to pay these pensions that they're not going to have enough money for.
Right.
So what's happening is they're actually going to reduce their tax base, which is great for Nevada, Arizona, Texas, and Florida. The great thing about Nevada is we don't have a huge pension problem.
Right.
Because our growth has been phenomenal, especially the past 20 years. Where, like I was telling you, like the LAPD, they got a force they're paying 25 to 45-year-olds, 45 to 65-year-olds, 65 to 85-year-olds. I mean, they can retire after 20 to 25 years. So you have some people that are making 7, 10 grand a month for 30, 40 years after they retire. That's not sustainable.
Right.
Prop 30 they just passed supposed to go to the schools. So what we're seeing, these economists that told us it's going to take from the infrastructure and the economy, we're seeing that happen live right now in California with the Prop 55 and then the Prop 30 that expired. They're calling Prop 55 a temporary tax.
Right.
But do you know what temporary means in California?
Permanent?
18 years.
18 years.
So that's how long the Prop 55 is for. So that's good for Nevada because, as everyone knows, taxes and the cost of living are much less here in Nevada.
For sure.
We can go on and on about the California, but just from California alone is going to boom the Las Vegas real estate market.
Yes.
And even Reno, you saw Teslas up there in Reno because California, once again, California's taxes and all the red tape killed that.
Right.
And it's huge, and they're actually producing batteries now. And
Right.
that's good for, even though it's in Reno, it's also good for Nevada because it's going to bring high-tech companies here in
Right.
the state.
Or at one time, you're like one of the top agent for short sale. Are you still doing a lot of short sale now, Andy?
Yeah, so the short sale market has obviously dwindled. I think it's only 4 or 5% of the market now.
Okay.
So we've shifted in traditionals, investors, and other parts of the market. The short sales might come up a little bit. We're starting to see a little bit of bump. Nothing like it was before. We're never
Right.
going to see that craziness that we had before.
Right.
But we're starting to see a little bump in the short sales because of the HELOCs. There's going to be about from October 1st of last year till the end of this year.
Right.
There's about 3 million HELOCs that are adjusting.
Right.
And Nevada has the highest per capita. California has the most. And 58% of the HELOCs, the people are upside down. So it remains to be seen how the banks are going to deal with those HELOCs. But there's 3 million people, and like I said,
So it's possible maybe an increase in short sale or maybe introduction of loan mod, or what do you think?
Yeah, so on the HELOCs, a lot of the investors purchased these things for pennies on the dollar, right?
Right.
Back when they were worthless.
Right.
Well, now they're worth it, and they just wanted to get maybe 5 or 10 cents on the dollar. Well, now those things are worth 40, 50 cents on the dollar, right?
Right.
So they're making literally 100 times on their money on some of these instances, 40 times whatever on their money, because the values have gone up so much.
Right.
So they're going to be more aggressive with the owners because they want that they want to take that property out. They were hoping just to collect on it like a credit card and get 2 or 3 times the money. Maybe they bought it for 2 cents on the dollar and they'll get 4 or 5 cents on the dollar. Well, now that 2 or 3 cents or 5 cents on the dollar, now it's worth 40, 50 cents on the dollar. So they're being more aggressive they'll be more aggressive on the HELOCs. So.
Okay. How about
And then you have the loan mods.
the loan
So
mod?
like for something like 2.5 million loan mods started adjusting. Remember the big wave of loan mods was done in 2012, the
Right.
5 years. So 2017 will be the first year of adjusting. Most of those are 3-tier adjustments on the loan mods, and they're going to go back to the original payment eventually, most of them. But this is just the first tier. So now people that have had a low payment for 5 years, now it's going to start hitting them again. Oh, wait a minute. Most of the loan mods did principal deferment, so they still have that principal over here, but the loan mod was done on this part, so the payment's low. Like I was giving you an example in Anthem Highlands, the loan amount was $450,000, but the payment's only $2,000 a month, right? Because it's a principal, it's a 2% interest rate, and it's principal deferred till 2037. So that doesn't make any sense to move out of there, but they're going to be in that situation until 2037.
Yeah, they're stuck in there today.
Right.
Right. How about mediation?
So yeah,
Are there new laws on mediation?
Yeah, so mediation's over. There's no backstop. There's only one thing left to stop the foreclosure, and it's not as strong as mediation. So that's gonna be a unique situation that we're seeing in 2017. In fact, just this week, we've had more foreclosures on short sales than happened in all last year on the short sales, because there's no more mediation. The people have been in the house we have clients who have been in the house for 6 or 7 years. So I think that's gonna start coming to bend. But we also have the demand to soak most of that up.
Got it. Let's talk about technology and major websites out there. How it's affecting us. Do you see it benefits us, or do you see it's hurting us?
Well, it depends
or
on
both?
Yeah, both.
Okay.
For Zillow's just launched a Zillow, Redfin, and Realtor.com are all, you can Google this, they're all looking into artificial intelligence. Okay?
What do you mean by that?
So artificial intelligence in the future, when people are on the computer looking for houses, the artificial intelligence is going to see what they like by what they're looking at,
Right.
and how long they're on the house, and they're going to scan all the other properties that are similar to that and start sending them to them automatically. So you only do one search, you won't have to adjust it. So that's the kind of artificial intelligence that's going on right now for increasing the search experience for consumers that these major websites are doing. And Zillow also launched a great platform for brokers, small businesses, small brokers and other brokers.
Lead management.
Yeah, lead management. They're calling the leads for you now. And the people that are calling from Zillow are highly qualified people that are been trained to talk to the consumer and increase
Interest.
increase interest and increase your close ratio, which has never been done before. This used to be the job of the franchises and stuff. And
Right.
now Zillow's breaking into that. And the generated leads. We all know Zillow's the gorilla. So.
Right. Now that you see that all of us are relying a lot more on Zillow and Redfin, what's going to happen to our future?
Well, with Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Redfin, that's where people are finding their houses now. It's basically they have access to MLS.
Right.
Just tell it like it is.
Right.
I mean, that's especially Redfin. Redfin's really user friendly, and it's accurate because it's basically the MLS.
Right.
So buyers are doing more of the work, right? Sellers are getting, for example, 10 years ago, they needed us to find a house.
Correct.
Right? They could drive around all day. Now they find the houses and they're calling us most of the time.
Right.
Right? And they're asking about the schools now. They don't ask. Remember, they ask us about the schools all the time,
Right.
and the crime. They don't ask that anymore. Nobody asks that.
They
anymore.
know all that information before they
Yeah.
even call you.
That's right. It's already
Exactly.
rated. They're already an expert in that area. That's one reason why you don't see mega listing agents anymore. I mean, remember 10, 15 years ago, we were just talking about it. Kathy
Exactly.
Benjer, Jeannie Sutherland, they were massive listing
Listing
agents
agents,
in
yeah.
those areas.
Right.
Like you want an area, that was your listing agent. They dominated.
Nobody
that area.
can penetrate into that market.
That's
Remember,
right.
They own it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Now there's no experts in certain areas ever because the technology has increased the
It's
knowledge
increased
of consumers.
productivity, but does that at the same time devalue the real estate industry or the agents? Does it devalue us?
It's just technology. When if you're giving information away for free that you used to charge for, we used to charge them
Right.
technically
Right.
for our knowledge of the schools, of the crime rate, of the area, what's going on, all that. So now with a click of the button, they can find all that information for free. They needed us to, like before, I remember back in 2000, 2002, there was no pictures on the MLS, remember?
Right. Yes.
We had to go and look at the house and tell them this is what's in there, that's what's in there, right? Well, no longer do you have someone walking into a house and saying, no, you know what, I don't like the kitchen, let's go. Because they've already seen the picture.
Exactly.
I don't like the area, let's go. I don't like the backyard. Well, they've already seen all that. So in one respect, our job's a lot easier because we're not wasting our time taking people to houses that there's no way they would like, right? So they've already narrowed down a little bit based on that. The drawback is also that when we were shown them those houses, we used to build a rapport with them in our car, right? You would show them 20 houses, well, how many houses?
Exactly. I remember
But
this.
they were in your car most of the time, right?
Right.
And so it took longer to find a house. Well, now people are finding the houses themselves, so they're not building that rapport, and they're meeting you at the house a lot of times.
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
So you're not building that rapport anymore, and then we're putting them in the CRM, putting them on a drip, so instead of talking with them and finding and looking for stuff for them, they know that they're on an automatic drip, so that kind of rapport has dropped a little bit, especially new clients. With friends, it's a different story.
Exactly.
But with clients,
The personal touch is drifting away.
right, exactly, because of technology. Nothing
Exactly.
we can do about it. It's not good, bad, it's just what it is. And that's why a lot of agents say, oh, buyers aren't loyal. Well, it's kind of our own fault.
Right.
Because we started treating them like a number, a CRM,
Yes.
right?
Right.
They go in the CRM,
Correct.
and they go, okay, these guys are 3 months out, 6 months out, 12 months out. Before, we used to call them and say, hey, how are you doing? What's
Right.
going on? How's your life? Blah, blah, blah. And they'd build a rapport with you, and they'd say, hey, how's your family? We don't do that no more.
Right.
Boom. It just gets emailed, so they don't even know you.
Right.
They know your emails, And then if you're lucky for them to click back and go on that, and then big companies like Commissions Inc. and Boomtown and Conversion have taken advantage of that. So for them, they made a killing. Look at Commissions Inc. just sold
they're growing like mushroom. They're growing there.
Commissions Inc. just sold for hundreds of millions of dollars, right, to Fidelity for drip campaigns and lead management and pay-per-clicks.
Right.
So basically, if Commissions Inc. was a brokerage, they'd be one of the largest brokerages in the country.
Right.
There's thousands of agents on Commissions Inc. and Boomtown. Those are what the brokerages used to do, or the big franchise, whatever used to do. I mean, they still do it, but these companies are coming out of nowhere and getting all the agents and creating. So that's how technology has changed quite a bit.
I like to ask a question for our agents out there. And my question is that if I'm in the business for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years and I'm stuck at this level, I can't get to the next level. I've been wanting to go to the next level. I don't know how. What advice can you give me?
Well, we all get stuck at certain levels, especially in the changing market.
Right.
It's like you just said, I used to do a lot of short sales. Can you imagine me trying to do a lot of short sales right now? It'd be a nightmare. It'd be impossible. So in this market, you have to change. You have to follow it. Look what's going to happen. Just like I talked about the HELOCs and loan mods, the pension. How do you take advantage of that? So you got to find that niche, go in there, and find out what's going to happen in the next 6, 12 months, and try and create that niche before everybody else does. Because once you do it, and people start seeing that that trend is coming, then everybody's going to do it. Just like the Facebook thing. 3 years ago, Facebook, nobody advertised on Facebook, hardly any. Now every realtor's doing it, and it's flooded, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just like Tom Ferry says, you got to hit the first 12 months, because then after that, every realtor's going to do it.
Exactly.
So in this kind of a changing market, with technology changing, the market changing, the first time the interest rates are trending up, find that niche, go out there and hit it before everybody else does, and do something different than everybody else does. A lot of realtors, especially the new ones, don't know better. They're cold calling, and that works. But if you got 10, 20 people next to you that are work at your same company, and they're calling the same people saying the same thing, now it becomes a numbers game. You're at a disadvantage.
Right.
If you're going to do the cold calling, call them and offer something different, differentiate yourself. Whatever it is. If you want to give them free pizza, give them free pizza. But whatever you can do to differentiate yourself, so the clients go, okay, cool, that's a little different than that. So,
just make yourself unique.
Yeah, especially because, like you said, what has technology done? Like it or not, technology has kind of made a lot of us realtors as commodities. Because we're on the internet.
Right.
Who's the biggest real estate company? If you ask a consumer, Zillow. So on Zillow, we're all pretty much the same. You know what I mean?
Right.
So consumers don't really know the difference. What is that realtor going to do for me that person's?
Right. Yeah. Good point. I like to talk about final thought, and let's talk about your final thought of how about the Las Vegas market?
Yeah, so like we were just talking about those things, Las Vegas, this is probably the best city in the country for the best opportunity.
For real estate agents?
Yeah, for real estate agents, just because we have so many people that can be coming here now. Just by those things I just told you. California, Illinois, New York, New Jersey.
Money.
Yeah, the China money. I mean, name another city that has that opportunity. But there's not. And then we have the biggest, the 8th largest economy at this time right next door to us, California.
Right.
And they're taxing the people like crazy, so this is their safe haven. This is a huge safe haven. And now for the first time since I've been here, that we're starting to get high-paying jobs, high-tech jobs are coming, and they're looking at it and go, you know what, Vegas ain't so bad out there. In fact, talk about the heat. If you're not living within 20, 30 minutes of the beach in California, you might as well live in Vegas, right? And so companies are starting to realize that. And we go on and on about that, but it being in Vegas, the timing of the what's going on, and even if the country goes into recession, Vegas will be foolproof, I think, from that, because when those other states raise taxes, they're going to come here as a tax haven.
Right.
So.
Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Good.
I know you're a busy man.
No,
It's hard to get. It's hard to get a hold of you.
Cool.
Hey, I like to say something about Steve. Steve is a book of knowledge. The man knows everything. You ask him one question, he can dissect it and talk about for hours and hours. I kid you not. And he is a master of niche finding. He will always be the first one who's finding all these niches. Steve is very approachable. Trust me. He may seem like that he's busy in all other places, but if you give him a call, send him an email, he's going to respond to you. If you have any question, please put it on the comment. If you need more, know more about all these what Steve's talking about or more in details, just send us a comment and a question, and Steve will answer it for you.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. Take care.